Have you ever found yourself at a crossroads in your life and felt you needed a big change or a completely different career path? How did you take that step? Or have you ever taken that step? How did you manage that fear? If you find yourself in a similar position right now, or have done in the past, or feel it might come in the future, this episode might guide you towards the next step. This episode combines a lovely chat with a great lady. We talk about the questions I just asked and our journeys. And then we'll hear my lovely guest's hypnosis session, how she basically navigates her session. And yeah, hope you enjoy this episode. Talk to you after. I have a lovely guest on our episode today called Kirti. Kirti is one of the people who have helped me make a big decision in my life. And I'll allow her to introduce herself, actually. Okay.
Thank you for introducing me, Sarah. I'm Kirti. I am a life coach. I'm currently based in India. I used to work in finance in the US, but then I made this huge life transition and I'm so happy I did. But yeah, so I'm a life coach and essentially I coach the conscious mind. I know what you do as in quantum hypnosis, it's very much about tapping into the subconscious mind. So which is why I feel like they complement one another so well. And essentially my form of coaching is based on I use both mindset and somatic tools, as well as just empowering whoever I'm working with to be in tune with their own intuition and their own inner wisdom, which I feel like is so important, right? To not see anyone else, even if, they're working with a healer or any other professional, as somehow knowing better for them than they themselves do. So that is super important to me whenever I work with someone. And I feel like the reason that I really love coaching so much is because I'm a very spiritual person, right? And of course, I'm assuming anyone who listens to this podcast is also pretty spiritual. And I feel like spirituality, it really invites us to see ourselves as co-creators with the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I feel like coaching is something, I love it because it's something that empowers us, even though we're all born in totally different circumstances, but it just empowers us to kind of take our power back in a way and step up to kind of create the reality that we want for ourselves.
Yeah, I totally agree there.
Right. By doing that sort of inner work to kind of bring that into alignment, to be able to see that, have that reflected into our external world. So yeah, and that's why I love coaching so much.
Amazing. And how did you take the step to leave the financial corporate world?
Yeah, that's a really good question because, I actually invested a lot of time and energy and money and education into having that career, right? Um, especially, when we coming from India, we're very much given that message of oh, you gotta make it by moving to the US or Canada, that sort of messaging is really given to us. And I was 100% bought into that. But I think once I actually had the thing that I was working towards, it was so obvious to me how out of alignment that was for the person that I was, right? I just felt like it was so draining to me on a soul level. It felt so off. I was just miserable. I felt like no matter even if I got promoted or I took a bit of a different role, but still in that sort of corporate world in the US, I just didn't feel fulfilled on a soul level. And so I just felt so pulled. And I found life coaching through that experience of me being what is happening in my life right now? I thought I had made it, but now I'm just totally unhappy and unsatisfied. So that's how I found life coaching. And I was like, oh, I think I could do this. I think I want to do this. Right. So I was firstly the receiver of life coaching. And then I was like, I got interested in it that way because it really helped me in a difficult time of my life.
Hmm.
And that's when I decided that I wanted to make this transition, as scary as it was.
That sounds amazing. That sounds very similar to my path as well, because I also used to work in the corporate world as a sales manager. And the exact same with you. I was like, what am I doing here? I don't really feel fulfilled at all. So I just left
Mm.
Ireland, went traveling in search of what I'm supposed to do. Yeah.
That's it. Okay, so that's how you are in Spain right now.
Yeah, so I basically went from Dublin to Thailand, and I lived in Thailand and I was teaching English and traveling all around there. And then I came back and I was a teacher in Spain. I became a teacher, and then I found coaching through teaching. Yes, so I studied to be a coach and now I'm a business coach, and then it kind of led to healing then. But I've kind of always been interested in healing at the same time.
Oh, that's so lovely. Okay, I didn't, that's very interesting. And how long has it been that you're in Spain now?
I'm in Spain. I think I came in like 2015.
Okay,
But that
got it.
was like the second time or the third or fourth time coming back to Spain. I've been coming to Spain since I'm 19. So,
Oh, okay, okay.
and I've tried to move back to Ireland, I don't know how many times, and it just doesn't work. Like I'm not
Mm,
connected to it emotionally.
okay, understood. Got it.
So, going back to quantum hypnosis, because
Yes.
you were one of my very first clients. Do you remember your intention for hypnosis?
Yes. So I think I had a more so general intention. Like I just wanted to get to know myself on a deeper level, right? Like to get to know my soul on a deeper level. Um, and I guess I just wanted certain questions answered. That's
Mm,
pretty much it. Mhm.
perfect. And how did you feel before the hypnosis session going into it?
Yeah, so before I got into it, I remember just being unsure. I think I was very much like, I don't know what to expect. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. So I think I was just unsure. I didn't,
Hmm.
and I think I remember, because during the initial part of it, when you were essentially putting me into hypnosis, like I had a lot of nervousness come up for me, which you really like, I felt like you did such a good job as at just like helping me kind of relax into it. But I was initially quite nervous for some reason. I think it's like part of me was like, oh my God, am I doing a good job? Even though all I had to do was just lay down. But I think my brain got a little like caught up in that.
Yeah,
Of like, am I doing this right? Like, am I relaxed enough? But like asking myself those questions for like making me less relaxed.
yeah.
And that's when you kind of like really helped me walk me through that part of it.
That's actually quite normal, especially I was in that situation where I really wanted to get the most out of it and I wanted to just like do what I'm supposed to do. And it's funny because the more we try to be like that, the less benefit we get from it. So it's like the biggest advice I always give everyone is to try it. Imagine you're going to sleep. And
Yeah.
did you find the advice you got from your higher self useful in your subconscious mind?
Yes, I 100% did. I found it very useful actually because I remember I think I got a lot of these messages that I just really needed to hear in terms of like trusting myself on my journey more. And just listening to my inner knowing more because I was, I guess, informed by myself or by my higher self that I tend to like doubt a lot. Like even if something is coming through within that, like, oh, I feel like my intuition essentially, like I have this tendency where I second guess myself, right? Like, oh, is this the right decision for me? Or like, even like with the session, like, was that really real? Like those kind of doubts come up. And I think a really strong message that I got was to just trust myself more. So that was really important. I definitely needed that. And also in terms of, I had one of the questions I'd asked was, I was just feeling pulled towards doing something in a way, like adding something to my coaching practice, like with tarot or like even energy healing work. And I was kind of like confused because I'm like, I don't think I necessarily have the capacity to do both of these at this time in my life. but I feel called to kind of dive a bit deeper into one of them. So I got that answer of like tarot, right? And I've been doing that and I've been loving it, right? I think it's just something that's also like just fun for me. And it's also something that actually helps me tune into my intuition even more. So I feel like my intuition muscle is something that I've really been able to strengthen through
Amazing.
this process. Yeah.
Yes. That's so good to hear because we do get so many amazing messages through tarot. And it also, it's really beneficial for other people as well, and really fun, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. And have you been able to act on any other advice you were given from the session?
Yes. I think one more advice that really jumps out to me right now is regarding like my coaching practice, right? Like I've been kind of I would say narrowing my focus a little bit more in terms of, especially helping people when they're going through a major transition in their life, like I did, because I think that's one of the main times when our conscious brain like freaks out, right? Like leaving that safety, leaving the comfort that we already know to do something that just pulls us on a soul level, right? That's when we have all the anxiety, the doubts, the fears come in, right? That's the conscious brain freak out. So that is something that I was feeling very pulled towards. And also like helping people heal their heartbreak, right? So I wanted to narrow down what I'm helping people with, whereas more so I was kind of just helping people with whatever they came to me with, right? And I enjoyed doing that, but I felt called to focus a bit more. And I think the the advice that I got was to just keep sowing my seeds in a way, right? To not be like impatient in terms of like, oh, when am I gonna hit this goal or that goal or whatever, and to just trust the process, to keep putting in the work. And again, it's like that message came up to trust the universe that, right, like I'm putting in this my love, my energy into this, and just keep watering those seeds and trust that, they will bloom in divine timing, essentially. Yeah.
And is that like aligned with your authenticity? Do you feel much more authentic doing it that way?
I do actually. I do. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
amazing. And regarding intentions, do you ever how important are in setting an intention for you when you're doing coaching or when you're doing
Mhm.
tarot or in your day-to-day life or anything?
Very, very important. Like so important because I feel like when we set an intention, it helps us, it gives us like, I guess, an overall map
Mhm.
of where we want to go, right? Like I think it's, I don't believe in like, oh, you have to know everything before getting into something, but I think with an intention, it's just something that guides you through your journey.
Mhm.
So for me, it's super important. Like, and I think even with my coaching, like it's all about being intentional in terms of how you are thinking about yourself, how you're thinking about your present life, and how you're thinking about what is possible for you in the future, right? Rather than like not being intentional about it. And that's when we tend to kind of absorb what other people are saying or what we're hearing from society and all of that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so true. It's so important to set an intention. And it's
Mhm.
also the same with hypnosis. Unless we set an intention before quantum hypnosis, you're really like chasing your tail. So yeah, it's
Mm.
really important to get to have it clear about what you want out of the session. In your session, actually, I remember you were so happy and so blissed in the forest. Did anything else develop since then regarding that?
I Yeah, I was like, I remember because I listened to my session back, right? And I just felt so, I remember that feeling of just being so at peace, feeling so connected to the elements, right? To earth. And I think it makes a lot of sense to me why that is a memory that came up because I being in the city and like also it was like summer that time, so it's super hot outside. Right. So I had been feeling disconnected in that way. And I think that's something that my soul really craved. And because nature also helps me with my creativity, right? When I'm in nature, I just feel so much more inspired and creative, and things just seem to naturally flow for me. So yeah, and I definitely had that feeling, right? I went on a recent trip away from the city, just totally kind of in the middle of nowhere a little bit, where it was just so green, so beautiful. It just felt so untouched by like, humans. It was very beautiful, very green, and I felt that feeling of just feeling so connected and just feeling almost like in awe of like, oh my God, like Mother Earth is just so beautiful, so stunning. Um, and it helped me just feel like alive and inspired again. Yeah.
Amazing. That's
I
so
even did some journaling, like literally like overlooking the hills, sitting on a rock and just doing some journaling. And it was so like such a precious memory for me, for sure.
amazing. And so that's really interesting you say that, because I get like downloads of ideas when I'm sitting on the grass as well with my feet out. Like I feel I have to have my feet out. Yeah.
I love touching the grass like with my bare feet instead of like having shoes on. I like literally took my sandals away and I was like, I just need to sit and touch the soil.
Yeah. And did you
Yeah.
notice like a complete difference after you came back from being in the countryside?
I 100% did. I think, yes, I felt refreshed. I felt like I had gotten like an energetic clearing,
Yeah.
because I feel like here in the city, I was just kind of like very much just in the midst of like my work and whatever is going on in my life. And I felt cleansed almost in a way. Um, yeah, for
Amazing.
sure.
So amazing. I even feel cleansed listening to you. So tell me a bit more about your coaching. If somebody wanted to get in contact with you, how could they do that? And what should their intention be?
Yeah, of course. So it really, in terms of intention, it's very much about just wanting to commit to something different for yourself, if that is something that you're wanting, right? Like if there is a certain change, whether in yourself or in your external reality that you're wanting, like that's the overall general intention, I would say. And like I mentioned, some of the specifics, like, just navigating a major life transition, right? To what feels more fulfilling to you on a soul level, right? Like going through a breakup and just healing from heartbreak, and also changing your inner dialogue. I think we tend to changing your inner dialogue in terms of the way that you speak to yourself,
Hmm.
right? Because that is so important. Like healing your relationship with yourself. I think a lot of the times, especially when we experience certain trauma, right? Like we internalize certain negative beliefs about ourselves, our self-worth, right? What is possible for us in our lives. So just rewiring all of that and changing those stories that you're telling yourself, right? Also, it's a lot of emotional work as well, right? Like something that I feel like a major challenge, right, as a human on earth is like the difficult emotions that we experience, right? So it's also about learning how to not be so afraid of them, learning how to meet them with love, to be open to feeling and experiencing and processing them so that they can be released instead of having that as something that's just like stuck within you,
Hmm.
right? So those are just like some of the areas, some of the intentions that people come to me with if they want to work with me. And yeah, they can just email me at my email, which is lifecoachkirti, Kirti @gmail.com. And my Instagram is KirtiIIP.
Thank you so much. That's really useful. And do you have any advice about what somebody could do on a day-to-day as a habit, like a new habit that they could pick up to help stop that like self-talk that's not doing us any good?
Yes. Yes, I think something I want to offer like the simplest and most doable thing. So I think something as simple as like taking even a couple of minutes in your day, right? Even if it's like 2, 3 minutes, and just writing down what's going on in your brain.
Hmm.
Okay. And picking one of the things that you've written down, right? It might be a certain belief about yourself, right? Like a very common and general one is like something like, I'm not good enough,
Hmm.
right? And seeing that as separate from yourself, right? I think the first step is is understanding that like these beliefs, that these thoughts that you have about yourself, they're not you. They're just something that's going through your mind. And the first step of just getting it out of your brain and seeing it on paper lets you have a bit of distance and separation from that. Right? So just seeing it as like a sentence in your that's going through your brain instead of like, oh, this is a truth about the kind of person that I am.
Yeah.
Right? So I would suggest that as the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, and then just questioning yourself, right? Like if that is something that you've written down is like, I am not good enough, right? Like questioning yourself in terms of why is this something that I'm choosing to believe about myself, right? In what ways am I enough?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's just about being curious about that belief and questioning it in a way that makes it a little looser in your brain. So you're not like holding on to it so tightly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something that I would offer as like a very simple, doable thing. Yeah.
Amazing. Another question that I have is, I know a few people who find it very difficult to take the step to do what they love because our situation. They're in the corporate world, they don't know what to do.
Mhm.
They know they shouldn't be there, but they have children, or they have a family and they've got a mortgage, and they're scared. What advice
Mhm.
could you give them there?
I think, and like all of those factors that you mentioned, like I think those are very real considerations, right? Because it's not like we live in a world where like we don't need any money or any of that, right? So I think I would say take the smallest step that even though it might feel a little scary, it's something that feels relatively doable for you, right? Like if someone is, for example, as you mentioned, like in the corporate world and they have a family to support and maybe they're the sole provider,
Yeah.
right? And they have a mortgage to pay, right? Like it's not like, hey, leave your job right now, right? It's about like, how can you introduce what you're wanting to do in your life in some way or the other, right? That's not shocking for your nervous system. That might, it's going to challenge your nervous system in some way, but isn't a shock, right?
Mhm.
And doesn't put you in like survival mode,
Yeah.
right? So even if it's like, hey, I'm keeping my job, but maybe I'm making some space for me to help one person in the way that I feel to,
Yes.
right? And going from there, right? And trusting that you keep like when you keep taking these steps like one by one, like your path will open itself up to you. Like you don't have to make a major jump right off the start, and I would actually recommend against doing that because again it's something that is likely to put your it's likely to be a bit too much for your nervous system. We want it to be just a little bit that you can navigate through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, totally get that. Like we
Mhm.
don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we're more stressed from
A
taking
hundred
too
percent.
big a step.
Uh-huh. A
Mm.
100%, right? Like one little step towards what you feel called to, that yes, it's a good thing that it will likely bring up like doubts and fears, but not something that you're like, oh, this is like too much for me to even handle, right? Something that you do have the capacity to navigate through, right? In terms of like seeking tools, right? Maybe you seek help from a coach or a healer, or maybe you just learn certain skills that help you navigate that, right? In terms of like calming your nervous system down, again, like questioning certain beliefs about yourself, what's possible with for you with this like new path and all of that. Yeah.
Amazing. That's such wise advice. It really is. I think everybody at some stage in their life needs a bit of a push or motivation to take a little step somewhere that's scary.
Yeah. And like it's like it's so cliche, right? Where they say like, where there's risk, there is reward. And I totally do believe that though,
Yeah.
because I feel like I definitely took a risk, but I also feel like I was rewarded because it's like because I knew the other option, yes, it was safe, but also it was not fulfilling. So I'm like, if I have, I mean, I believe in multiple lifetimes, of course, but I'm like, in this life, I want to live it to the fullest. So I'm going to do this, even though this feels scary, right? But again, like in a way that's manageable and doesn't like totally put me in survival mode and isn't a complete shock to me. Yeah.
Yes. Amazing. Oh, thank you so much, Kirti. You've been
Oh,
amazing
you're so
and such
welcome.
amazing advice, really useful advice that I hope everyone can benefit from.
Oh, I'm glad. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Can I mention just one thing about the hypnosis sessions? Because
Yeah,
I
of course.
I noted it down as something that I definitely wanted to say. So, there was a point in your hypnosis session when you were like putting me under, I would say,
Yeah.
when you were like invoking, I guess, my spirit guides,
Mm-hmm.
um, like star family ancestors, like something about that. And I have to say that was a major highlight for me in my hypnosis session, because when you did that, I felt this intense wave of loving energy. Like it was so intense. Like I felt it in my body. It
Yeah.
was like my brain couldn't really understand what was going on. But when you did that, I felt so much love. Like it literally brought me to tears. So I definitely wanted to mention that, because it meant a lot to me, because I felt like I experienced so much love in like as soon as you said that, and it helped me feel so supported, because it was like, oh, when you called to my guides and my ancestors and my star family, I like felt their presence on a body level immediately, and it just helped me feel like, oh, I'm not alone, right? Like I might feel like I'm going through a bit of a hard time in my life or whatever, but I am supported, right? There are others that care for me and that are sending me love. So that was a very special moment during my hypnosis session. And I don't think I mentioned it to you before, so I definitely wanted to do so now.
That's amazing. And it's true, we are surrounded by support. We just have to
Mhm.
to acknowledge them and just ask for help. And they're available and they're always around us,
A
but
hundred
when
percent.
our awareness is brought to their attention, it's obviously amplified. Yes, I'm so
Mhm.
happy that you
Agree.
felt like that.
Yes, thank you. That was so, I really appreciate your hypnosis session. Yes,
Good.
like
And
it
would
was very special for me.
would you do
Yes.
another one?
100%. Yes, I would.
Yes.
I think, yeah, I would highly recommend it to everyone. And especially like my experience with you, I felt very just safe and taken care of. So I think, you as a practitioner, you just like exuded this like very calm and loving energy that even put like my like anxious mind at the time, like it put me at ease. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much. And thank you as well for helping me take a big step to reduce my daytime working hours. And you are also
Oh,
supportive and caring in your coaching sessions too.
oh, you're so welcome.
So now let's take a listen at Kirti's wonderful hypnosis session.
Not sure. I like vaguely feel like I see like lots of trees.
Lovely. Very good. Mm-hmm. Are they big trees, small trees, jungle trees?
Yeah, like big jungle trees.
Does it feel like you're in a jungle?
Yeah, kind of.
Can you see if you're male or female?
No, I'm not sure.
That's okay. Is there anything visible in the distance?
Maybe like a body of water, like a
Mm-hmm.
lake or something.
That's great. Are you able to go over closer to the lake?
And it just seems kind of far though.
That's okay. Whatever you're supposed to do there is perfect. How do you feel?
feel a sense of calmness.
And you notice if it's cold or warm in the temperature.
Kind of warm, I think.
You're doing really well. And you notice if there's a wind in the trees.
Very light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But like the trees feel huge, like really, really huge.
Mm-hmm. Does it feel like you're on Earth or another planet?
Maybe another, but I'm not sure. It's just like I've never maybe another because the trees seem like ginormous. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. You're doing really well. Would you like to climb the tree?
Sure.
Let's see if you can get up. Do you reckon you can climb?
I think so. Like a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I wonder what you might see up the tree.
It's like a lot of trees. Like I just feel like in the middle of a jungle. Like just it's just green everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
And can you see anyone else around, or are they just trees?
I just see trees. I don't feel another like person around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. Can you identify why you might be here?
I just got the word home. Like it feels kind of like home.
Sounds like a lovely home. If you're ready, we can move on to the next relevant memory, the next relevant thing you're supposed to see.
I just feel like I'm sitting on a tree branch, just chilling.
Chilling like a villain.
Yeah, it just feels nice to be here.
That's okay. You can stay there as long as you like. Can you hear any sounds?
just like the light breeze,
Mm-hmm.
like water in the background. It's faint,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it feels very mostly quiet.
Peaceful.
Yeah.
You feel safe here.
Yeah. And I feel like very connected to the tree for some reason. Just like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Do you think you are this tree?
Mm, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. You're doing really well. Sounds like you're connected to nature as one.
Yeah.
Do you reckon you have a family around there?
I think I do.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. But it's like, I almost get the sense it's like, I just like wandering off on my own,
Mm-hmm.
just being away from everyone else.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah.
It's nice to connect to nature on your own in your own space.
Yeah. I'm like getting this image now of me just like playing around in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just like, I don't know, like jumping on pebbles, like just kind of messing around with the water.
You're doing really well. Is it that water that you saw before in the distance?
I think so. I think it's, yeah.
Can you see your hands?
Mm.
Or feel your skin?
Having trouble doing that, but I'm getting this like sort of young energy. Like I'm young. Like maybe just like a kid. I don't know. Or like
Very
a
good.
young energy. Yeah.
That's great. Is playing in the water your happy place?
Yeah. The water just feels very cool and fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Natural and cleansing.
Yeah.
Are there any fish in the water?
Mm. I feel like some, they're like kind of glowy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just kind of glowing fish, I guess, like different colors.
Mm-hmm.
Not so many though, but I see some here and there, I think.
Mm-hmm. Would you catch one in your hand, or are they too fast?
Yeah, I think I can. I just like look at it and I just let it go. Yeah.
Oh.
They're small. like super small.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know where your family are?
I think they're like back home where we live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I get the sense that we like live on like tree branches or something. Like
It'd be amazing to live in the trees.
yeah. I'm almost getting the sense of like, I don't know, like feeling like, oh, maybe my mom's, she might be getting worried, but like I'm just having so much fun. I don't really care. I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds cute.
I'm getting the sense of being blue in color,
Mm-hmm. That's great.
maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kind of weird, but
That's it. That's perfect. You're doing really well. Is this the same memory or a different one now?
same one, because I think I'm just in the water. There's like a little waterfall. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like when I was under there, I just got the sense of kind of being blue, like my skin kind of being blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you notice if you have any hair?
Mm. I think maybe like short hair.
Mm-hmm.
I feel kind of like I'm getting like young male energy. So I think I'm getting like maybe short hair or something. Yeah.
That's great. You're doing really well. Why do you think you were drawn to this lifetime?
I think just to feel connected to nature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I've just been feeling very disconnected.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So yeah. Yeah.
Can you notice what star system of origin you are here?
Getting the thing is like I'm getting Vega, but like I'm not sure. Like I'm kind of doubting it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. You're doing really well.
It just feels like very there's I'm not sure if it is Vega, but I'm getting very like a lot of greenery,
Mm-hmm.
naturey, almost kind of earthy vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're doing really well. So would Vega be the star system that you're most connected to as a soul?
I think so. I think so. Because I mean like just when I was like sitting on the tree, just being in the water, like I automatically just had tears. So I think yeah, there's that emotional connection I felt.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Can you notice any sensations in your body?
Not really. Like right now, you mean? No, not really. I just feel kind of okay, I guess.
That's good. Are you still under the waterfall?
No, I think I'm just walking. I can just feel the ground below my feet,
That's great.
walking amongst the trees, just walking.
You're doing really well. If at any stage you'd like to move on to the next memory, you can go ahead and skip on to the most important time when you feel like it. But you don't have to. What does it feel like walking on the leaves in the forest, in the jungle?
Cool. It just feels kind of cool, below beneath my feet. I'm just kind of now just lying on the ground, and I'm like just looking up. I seen some birds. They look like different, like almost like kind of exotic like birds. Like they're colorful. They have like a colorful beak or something.
Wow.
Yeah, I cannot.
Sounds beautiful.
It almost kind of reminds me of, how we see, like maybe birds that are in South America, like they're just all these different colors.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's reminding me of, I guess. Looking up at them. Yeah, they're just kind of squawking, I guess. I just feel really, just like fascinated looking up. Yeah.
That sounds lovely. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and you'll find all of the details in the show notes. If you'd like to get in contact with me or Kirti for coaching, please feel free to get in contact and tell us your comments about the episode. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.